Hi, what new possibilities will you create? Today's guests will share their story and provide insight. From my network to yours, let's get to it.
I'm Capral Mowbray, author, motivational speaker, career consultant. When you have a mental game plan for change, you're ready for anything. In life, if you always stay in a state of go, then you can never be in a state of stop.
Hey, what's going on? All right, now I can hear you. So I'm going to say that again. Live in the present moments with a present mindset. Let's put it there. If you're giving energy to things that don't serve you, your light field is being depleted. Establishing a career in the art world is very challenging.
Listen to understand. It helps you understand the other mindsets.
Fiction books are fun to me. Because they're able to take you out of the world, which is why I like to read them.
I am Ron T. Young. I'm a actor, photographer, director, graphic designer. There's a lot of ways to get into a place. Just think, I'm from the hood. You can take an hour or two of learning about something.
Hey, how are you?
I'm okay. I've never done this before, so I don't know.
Good. I'm still learning. I'm still learning too.
Can you hear me? I don't even know if you can hear me.
I hear you. You sound super clear. One of the cool things about this Instagram Live, I think the microphone is really good. It actually picks up the music in the background and doesn't distort at all. I'm loving it. It's super dope. It's like week 3 for me, so I'm still learning myself.
Well, I will turn the TV down then, so y'all don't have to be burdened with my news. I know some people are not watching the news right now.
Oh man, the news. Yo, I am ready for an awesome session. An amazing tear-dropping session with my baby girl just now. I literally was in tears at the end. I didn't see that coming, Amber.
I didn't get to see the whole thing, so I'm going to go back and watch it later. You saved it, right?
Yeah, I saved it. The first hour didn't save for some crazy reason. We'll figure it out later. But the second hour, we went 2 hours.
Oh, good.
Woo.
Okay.
And the second hour, saved. So save it now. So yes, watch it through.
Thank you. Somebody just said they love my hairstyle. I'm trying to read this is a lot.
Yo, so before we even get started, our folks connected, tell them who you are.
Oh, okay. My name's Amber Cabral. I'm an inclusion and diversity strategist for, I own my own company. It's called Cabral CO. Small business, gonna stay small, but I do inclusion and diversity consulting, training, whatever stuff for mostly retailers right now, but a mix of organizations, big and small.
Yeah. What drives you? What made you do it? I know the story, but they don't know the story.
I like the work.
Yeah.
So, there's that. But I also think that it's very easy for me to say things I think most people have a hard time saying.
Yeah.
And so I, to some degree, feel like what happens is it puts me in these, I landed in this space because I was voluntold to be a part of a diversity and inclusion council at Blue Cross in Michigan. And so it was like, hey, go do this. And I was like, okay, because I have a big voice. And so I did. And from there, I was a part of that. This was before diversity was a job.
Yeah.
Remember when diversity was an initiative?
Yeah.
Right?
It still is. Depending on where you're at.
Yeah, depending on where you're at, diversity is still an initiative. And if it's an initiative at your job, you should call me.
And sometimes even the company, and some teams would be progressed, and you see the different level of maturity is still an initiative for some, and some, you know how it is. Yes,
absolutely. So it was an initiative back then, although this was 20 years ago, y'all. So,
20 years ago.
It was
Dude,
20
you're
years
like
ago.
20. You're like 20 now.
I am not 20 anything, but thank you. But thank you for that. It was 20 years ago, and so I did the initiative. I ended up deciding I was gonna leave Blue Cross. I moved to Georgia. I started to do my regular, healthcare job in Georgia, and I was like, this is horrible, and I hate it. Ultimately from there, I was gonna leave. I was gonna just kind of hop out and, to be completely candid, I was going to bartend because I was like, well, I can always bartend. That's easy. And so I hated my job enough in Georgia to just say, okay, well, I'm going to bartend. I'll go ahead and leave. And ended up getting called by a friend of mine that worked at Walmart and said, hey, we have an opportunity here. And I was like, yeah, don't think I'm going to Walmart.
Yeah.
Over about a year's time, I finally kind of got comfortable with the idea of doing the interview and went through the process and ended up joining Walmart Stores, Inc. Worked there for 6 years. Roles of progressing responsibility. Ended up doing a number of things. Ran the intern program. Ran the global mentoring program. Had responsibility for culture transformation project that was, an executive project. And ended up in my dream job, which was diversity strategy for the biggest company in the history of the world. So that was great. But things aren't always what you think they're going to be. Yeah. And so I was in that role for, I guess about 2 years before, company went through some reorg. My life went through a reorg. And it was time to get out of Bentonville, Arkansas. So I went ahead and took my coins, collected my ducats, and got on down the road. And honestly, I thought I was going to end up at another company. I was interviewing. You remember our interview?
I remember.
Amazon, right? Like
I remember.
I was interviewing, and I thought that was the next step. Like, okay, I'm just going to go to another organization. And I didn't. I got called by some people who were like, hey, can you do this project for me? And the next thing I know, I had my own company. I always wanted my own business, but I didn't know I was going to have a business like that. It just kind of happened. Yeah. And, so here we are today. So I've been doing this, although I've had my business name for 15 years and been doing consulting for 15 years. It's been 3 years. This is the start of year 4 of me doing this full time.
So one thing I think about success, right? And it takes endurance, right? And you're definitely demonstrating that. And folks are either deciding to make a career change or continue to progress. Do you agree? Like, the success comes from endurance, and there's struggles along the way. What's your take on that? What's your advice when that happens?
Like, where does success come from?
No, like, success comes from. Success comes from endurance. Like, you continue to work at it, and you'll have some breakdowns, some shortfalls. You'll have those challenge points. How do you just navigate through when that happens? Like, what keeps you moving forward?
You know what? Here's the thing I think that's important. I think you have to figure out what's gonna inspire you to live your life. And for everybody, that's going to be different. I have a friend who is an amazing mom. She's a great employee. She's incredibly beautiful. I mean, like, traffic stopping beautiful. Like, she's gorgeous. She's smart. She's funny. She's all of these amazing things. But, like, she, above all else, is an amazing mom. And that is what pushes her, doing the best and the most that she can for her kids. And so for me, I decided a long time ago that I wanted good memories. I've watch people get older. I've spent a lot of my life, in a lot of different places, and, sometimes by myself, sometimes with kids, like, there's been a lot of change. I've relocated a number of times. And so what became really important to me is having memories that I enjoy reflecting upon. And so what inspires me to do new things and inspires me to try and achieve and have success and, like, just really to live my life, the entire length of it, is I want great memories. I want to be old in somebody's rocking chair telling stories that make everybody laugh. And, like, that people be like, you did that? Or pulling out some old pictures and people are like, oh my God, like, I want that. That's what I want my life to feel like. Like, I want it to always be something that I can share, that it goes back to what I said earlier, like, that storytelling. Like, there's something about the power of having good stories that is just very meaningful to me. And that honestly keeps me, like, kind of striving. So I always have a good story.
I love it. It's so true. I mean, and what I heard a little bit there too is what I'm hearing from you, and similar, is gratitude. Like, is find a way to appreciate. And I think if it's not coming clear for folks, it definitely should be coming clear. Is in Kaplan, I saw Kaplan Mulberry joining. He's online too. So he was on last week. He's also similar space, and he mentioned, the vitamin G, Gratitude. So how do you take your dose of vitamin G day? What's that for you? How do you find gratitude? How do you embrace that?
Well, first of all, if you are alive with a phone in your hand looking at this right now, you need to be gracious. Like, gratitude should be at the top of your list, because things are hard. Like, all these people lined up for food right now. People are struggling to figure out what they're going to do for money. Like, and there may be some of you on here that are doing that as well. Like, there's a lot of challenge happening, and that to me is a fertile ground for gratefulness. And so I'm honestly, if you just take a minute and look around, you will find places to have, that you'll get your vitamin G. You know what I'm saying? Like, now the thing I do think that's important and that some people miss is it's something you have to pass along. Like, you have to be intentional about deciding to say, I want to let someone know how they impacted what why I feel gratitude, and what it was that they did, because sometimes you just don't know. Like, those are some of the best notes I get are random people I went to high school with who I haven't talked to in like 300 years or whatever, that will randomly send me a note and be like, I'm so proud of you, and I always knew you would be amazing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it's just like,
where you been?
It's huge, but like, that's still gratitude. They're grateful for having the opportunity to like experience, like, whatever it is that they feel like I contributed.
What advice would you give to folks that would like to leave the corporate to pursue a passion not aligned with
it's probably with their current career? I would
with their regular 9 to 5. You're right, with their regular 9 to 5.
Yeah, so I get this question a lot. So the very first thing I want to say is Cabral CO was established 15 years ago. I was not doing Cabral CO full time until 3 years ago. Take your time. Take your time. I also didn't, I don't know if this person was on at the beginning, but I didn't know that this was what I was going to be doing. I did know I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I did not know what that meant. This was very surprising to me. But in terms of advice, I think the best advice that I can give in terms of career in general is say yes as much as you can. There are things I say yes to that I didn't necessarily understand or see value in at the time that are so valuable to me now. So when that project that you're like, dude, I already did this, I don't want to, say yes as much as you can, because what it does is it creates connections for you, relationships that you didn't expect. As much as your availability will permit you, I do not think you should burn yourself out, but I do think that you should, as much as possible, say yes to work, because there are things that you're going to learn from doing the work. There are relationships that you will build. There's exposure opportunity that happens. I've been invited to things from people that I've seen all of one time, but did a project with, and they were like, oh, you would be great at. Happens to me in my business even all the time. People see me facilitate something at Walmart that work at a whole different company will find me on LinkedIn and be like, hey, I think you would be great. Come do this thing, right? So it's say yes to as much as you possibly can. That's made a huge difference in my life. And I still try to say yes now. I say yes. Yeah. I say yes to this because I was like, I don't do live.
And I asked you your birthday too.
Now, and as far as like preparing to be an entrepreneur, you just gotta go and jump on out there. There's no, you're gonna have days there. All my friends will tell you there've been many days where I was like, I'm out. It's no more, I'm out. So, I mean, same way you feel about your job now, you're gonna have those moments with your business as well.
Here's a question for you, and I'll pop some up too. From my lens, and I see your energy and your passion, and beautiful that you're able to tap into it, and your love for humans and love for diversity, inclusion, and the importance of equity. Talk about that a little. Give some more context of what keeps you so that passion and now it's no longer just a passion, right? It's a job, right? It's your business, it's your income, and you're bringing to it. So you want folks to get what you already got, and then as you enhance and new things open up for you, you're like, man, how do I make sure I bake that to my future curriculum and perspective to like give you some of that? You got some good folks in the table that are in that space of diversity, inclusion.
So for me, in terms of diversity, I love the work. I like it. It's very natural for me. I watch the news with a diversity lens. Like, it's in my bones. I think that whatever you're going to do with your life, if you're going to be passionate about something, if you're going to commit your time to anything, you need to love it. Now, that said, there are going to be things about it that you don't love. I will not go into detail about things about my job I don't love, but there are some things that I'm like, I hate this. I don't ever want to do it. In the ways I can contract that stuff out, I do. But in the beginning, I couldn't. I had to do all of it, right? How I keep my energy is I identify the parts of the business that I really, really want to be close to. For example, I still train. I love to train. I love it. There are days I get out of bed, like I have been in 7 cities in the last 6 days, and I am tired. And I don't know that I can. But there is something about getting in that room and going through this content and having those conversations. I get the energy for those 4 hours. I can do it for 2 people. I could do it for 2,000 people. Like, it's something about that really does it for me. So I can't let that go. Like, this business can grow. There can be 5 or 6 of me. I mean, we're small, you know, so, but like, I can't not train, you know what I mean? Like, because that is the thing that keeps me connected so much. And like, it lights me up. I could be having a bad day. I could not be feeling well. I could be under the weather. You get me out there on the stage. And here's the thing. I am not a stage person. I don't want you to watch me. I don't like being stared at. Please do not hand me the mic. I would never attend an award ceremony ever. Like, don't put me on the spot. I do not like it. But for whatever reason, if I'm teaching, it's like all of that goes away. It's easy for me to get up in front of the audience and teach. And so, to answer your question, you got to figure out the thing that lights you up. You got to figure that out, and you got to hold on to that no matter what happens in your business, no matter what evolves. You got to hold on to that thing, so because that's what's going to recharge you.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna share truth there too as well. People will assume because I've seen I'm outgoing, an extrovert. I don't like to get awards publicly. I will shun away or acknowledgement. I'll find ways to hide from that, right? Because to me, I'm so passionate about what I do. That's what it's not to receive. I want to give. And,
it's not about you. It's not about you.
Yeah. And so it's like, but then I read this good book my son gave me called The Go Giver, and
I've read that.
And that last chapter will hit me. If you're a good giver, you gotta receive. If you don't,
you gotta receive. You gotta receive.
Right? So how can you give? You can't receive. Who's filling your tank?
That's right.
And you empty your tank out all the time.
That's right. So, you gotta keep a full cup.
You gotta keep a full cup, and then give off your full cup. The love, and so that's important. But I'm not surprised. I'm sure a lot of us like that. That we don't want to be the accolades. So let me pop. So what's your definition of success? How do you define success? What does that mean to you? Thanks, Tracy.
I'm gonna give you 2 answers. The number one, because I come from very little. The number one definition of success for me is I don't have to worry about money. The other definition of success for me is that I can very easily get back to peace. And sometimes those go hand in hand, sometimes they don't. From a business perspective, you know, you got to look at the bottom line. Like it or not, that's part of it. You got to watch your dollars, right? And so I really try to watch my dollars. And so, you know, like when I don't have to really mind that and I can let the accountants do it. And
shout out for the accountants.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So when I can let the accountants do it, I am in a better place, right? So that's success for me. But also, like, peace is, I'm not a happy comes and goes. You're gonna have some days you're happy, you're gonna have some days you're sad, you're gonna have some days you're tired. My ultimate always goal is, can I get to the point where I can be calm and easy and peaceful? And so that's success for me. And here's the thing. The great thing about that is it has nothing to do with really anybody but me.
Yes.
I get to work on that. I get to work on it all the time, however I so choose. I work on it. So like, so my that's my little success bucket. Is like, okay, can I get to the place where I can go, okay, I'm at peace. I might be stressed out 10 minutes from now, but if I can get back to peace, I'm good.
I love that. I love that. That is so important. I love the fact that you say you control that. Because you're right. Because a lot of times we look to others to give us peace, and that's a mistake. what are you doing to keep yourself sane in the quarantine? No doubt, especially you traveling 6 cities, 7 cities in 6 days. Now you're in your house.
Yeah, in my little bitty house.
Yes, what's keeping you sane?
So I started earlier by saying that, like, you know, some people are not watching the news. I do take news breaks, but I kind of like the news. So I do watch the news. It doesn't bother me. I actually, you know, I can laugh at the clownishness. I'm aware that there's a lot of serious things happening, and I do share a lot of the serious stuff on LinkedIn, but like, yeah, so I do watch the news. I've been doing a lot of social media, and you know, I have a small balcony here. I make sure I open my windows every day. I've done a few virtual happy hours.
Same here. Is it crazy? I'm like,
yeah,
my door's nearby, but I'm like having happy hours. I'm like, short walk to the bed.
Pretty much, right? No danger. You know?
No need an Uber.
Yeah, it's kind of like dope. And then you got all these DJs. I've been listening to all the DJs, all the verses, all of the music stuff. I've been all the way in that. But I've also, so it's easy to, not to minimize anyone's situation, because if you are not able to afford to do this, you know, I'm not suggesting that you should be doing this, but I know that I can, you know, I'll get my phone in my hand and I'm surfing on whatever, buying stuff. And so my thing that I have given myself the permission to buy as much as I want is vinyl. So I love vinyl. I have, you know, a pretty nice collection. Some of it came from my dad. And so I've been buying like albums. So I get like an album every other day in the mail, which has been awesome. Yeah, so that's been a good, because I mean, when am I gonna have the time to build my collection? So this has been that. I've been doing that. I've been building up my vinyl collection.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yo, that's true. I've been but it's weird because I can't go to shop. I love to go, you know.
Yeah, I like to go. Yeah, I do too. But I mean,
we can't do it.
So I'm like, I look at it as I'm supporting a small business.
Yep.
You know, so
I love it. We did too. Like I was in back in Philly, and we went. My friends online here too. We went to get ice cream. Jamie and support local business and just being present to the options that were available. We just did today. Walked around Capitol Hill, and the store was open. And then I went to this restaurant. It had some vegan mac and cheese. I'm trying to become more vegan. I'm still more pescatarian, but vegan mac and cheese. She had this big old juicy hamburger and french fries. She's clearly not trying to become vegan. And then I said, can I get a mimosa? How does it work right now? Because I can't drink in the restaurant, but we walk outside. I said, well, how about I get the mimosa while we wait for the burger to get made? You know, and it was just, and then I gave her like literally this walkout. But I gave her like I don't know, 50% tip, no 100% tip. Right. Yeah. And then like, and she's like, oh my God, like, yo, we gotta do. So I love that you're doing that too. And so
I've made it a point. It's definitely high. I am a small business, so but I'm also I'm B2B, right? So like most individuals can't hire me, you know, I mean they could, but like, you know, for the most part, like it's B2B. I need like businesses to hire me, and they're like all freaked out. So like I'm adjusting, you know, that's not to say work has stopped. It's trickling in, but like it's different, right? But I do feel an obligation to help small businesses, especially small brown businesses. Like, you know, Black and brown people right now are really having some of the most difficult times. And so I want to make sure that in the ways that I can help, you know, with my dollars, because that's, you know, that's, you vote with your dollars, just so y'all know. You know, I am spending my dollars in a way that, you know, are going to impact some people that, you know, need it and, you know, will benefit from that.
It's super dope. You're right. One thing when you were talking, your secret sauce, I'm going to pick at it. I think your secret sauce is because you have to come to these companies, right? And earn trust and connect with them. They like, and on a topic that's very difficult, you're very present.
Oh, yeah. I'm very present.
How you stay so present?
I'm curious. Like I want to know why you like this, what you think about this. I want to hear the words you have selected. I want to pay attention to the body language and the posture, and like, why are you so nervous acting when this person's around? Or like, you know, like that's my thing. Like I have that, and so I use it to like I exploit it, honestly. So it's a big part of what makes the business work. It also is why I want to stay small. It's something that I think makes what I do really special and valuable. And I think it's why the companies that have elected to hire me and continue a relationship continue. Like, the biggest clients I have had have lasted the entire duration that I've been, doing this full time. And I think that says a lot. Like, a lot of people hire you and bring you in and have you do one thing and then that's it. But like, I have ongoing relationships. Like, people keep bringing me back. Hey, we love this. Can you build something that does that? Hey, we really enjoyed this. Can you build something else? And for me, hey, Malika. For me, I think that's really important, is having the kind of relationships that, people want to keep bringing me back. And so, to do that though, I got to stay close. So I'll stay small.
I love that you said it, because I'm gonna take it, the staying small part. What I'm hearing from you really is that you embrace staying connected. It's not about divine. It's literally being connected with that organization, and people know that when they're bringing you on board. Because I know this too, they're bringing you on board.
Correct.
And why you're so connected to the training, to being a trainer, because you're connecting with those folks in the room. And a lot of folks don't know, we get just as much data from the participants as we're giving them, and that's the win. I love it. Oh my God!
Exactly.
It's a drug, right?
If you're doing it well, you are definitely getting information from the participants.
When you're present,
right? When you're present.
When folks are not present, they just follow. They worry about what the slide's going to say, and they reading their script, and they're not present to the energy in the room. They miss the lesson.
Exactly.
Their own lesson.
Exactly. That's totally true. Okay, what are some tips that you have to maintain and cultivate relationships so that you have those people? What was the rest?
The people that can call upon when.
Oh, so that you can call upon those relationships. Okay.
Yes. All
right. That's, first of all, maintaining and cultivating is effort. Like, I don't want to lead you to believe that that's an easy, natural thing. It takes time, it takes effort. And so you have to figure out what works for you. For some people, that's LinkedIn. I actually have a really good friend. I saw him join earlier. I don't know if he's still on, but he's incredible at relationships. Like, he keeps up with everybody. He touches point with people. He checks in on me. Like, he's awesome at it. And honestly, it's things like that. It's reaching out and saying like, hey, just, thought about you. And I get messages like that all the time. I try to also send them. So that's one point. The other thing is, and this is the thing a lot of people won't tell you, but it's true, because sometimes it creates work for you. Sometimes you got to just step in and be like, hey, you know what? I noticed that you were doing blah, blah, blah. I can help you with that. If you help somebody with something, especially someone that you kind of have a sort of relationship with, but like it hasn't, like, the meat of it hasn't really happened, just go ahead and jump in there and be like, I can help you with blah, blah, blah. Like, listen, I'm telling you, oh, bye. But I think that's a secret little snack, right? Like, jump in and help somebody, and do it just from the goodness of your heart. You know how to do it, because 9 times out of 10, if you know something, like what I know I can do in 10 minutes, it's going to take you 10 days. And so, like, you're not giving up a whole lot, but you're building a very meaningful connection with that, right? And then the third thing, as far as like maintaining healthy relationships, this doesn't even have anything to do with touching base, but it's also something that I am working on being better at. Stay visible. You don't always have to have a direct touch. Everybody don't need a hey, hello, how you doing? How was your birthday? Blah, blah, blah. But if they see you, they will still feel connected to you. They'll feel connected to your identity and your energy, and they'll remember the experience they had, or blah, blah, blah. So making sure that you stay visible is another way. And that part, I mean, that should be kind of easy for people.
How you stay visible then? How you do it?
I'm working on it. So I use the socials. The socials. I actually am a part of a program right now with Package Your Genius. I saw her slide in there somewhere. But yeah, she's incredible, and she's helped me a lot with visibility. But just being deliberate and intentional about it is the first part. Like, you have to decide, like, one of the first things she teaches is like, pick your platform. Where are you gonna do this? Are you a Twitterer? Do you like Twitter? Do Twitter. Like, let that be your thing, because you want to pick something you're gonna actually stick with. In my case, I like Instagram, so I use Instagram, right? So like, I posted a lot. I know that LinkedIn is where my business people are though. So I gotta make sure I do my work over there as well. But the visibility thing, the thing that's awesome about it is like, if you're visible in a meaningful way. So like, drop little nuggets, give tips, send articles, post stuff that people can be like, oh, that was a good share. Like, that stuff makes people feel connected, and they'll reach out to you like out the random clear blue sky, like, hey, I just started this company and I would love to have you come, blah, blah, blah. So
it's like, so true.
It's very true. It's very true. I have not advertised a day in my life with this company, but I have not had a gap in business that has been like crippling, you know, like, so yeah, it's a real thing.
Have you ever felt stuck? And what did you do to move yourself past that? Good question, Erica.
Yes, I feel stuck in the house right now. Yes, I have felt stuck. Yes, I have absolutely felt stuck, and I have also quit 100 times. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's a couple things that you have to know. One, again, success for me is always being able to get back to peace. When I get back to peace, I ask myself a few questions. Do I still love this thing? Does it matter to me? Do I really still want to give my time to it? If the answer is still yes, then that means I may need a break. I may need a drink. I may need a walk, but I'm not going to give it up. Okay. So like, there's that. Stuck. Yes. Stuck not making enough money. Stuck in a city I don't want to live in. Stuck in a relationship that I can't make work. Like all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
I'm an executor. And so my natural instinct for stuck is to say, okay, look, I'm going to give this X amount of time. That could be a week, a day, a month, whatever that is. But there's going to come a point where I'm going to decide to do something. Let it go, move on, have a conversation, try a different strategy, whatever that is. Like there is a point where an action is required. And so, and here's the thing, there's no excuses for that action. There's no reason for you to not do something unless you just don't want to. And so if I don't want to, then I'm not going to, but like stuck for me it is a state of mind that cannot exist like without my complicit participation.
Say it one more time again.
Like,
say it is so true.
It is like you have to be complicit in your stuckness. And and here's the thing, you get to be stuck. Everyone has a moment or 2 or 10. But like staying stuck, like you are complicit in that. And until you have to decide that you don't want to participate in that anymore for you to, you know, move on. Stuck is a choice. Exactly.
I love it. It's so true because if you think about it, you look at yourself, are you physically stuck?
No.
Like,
No.
is there anything in front of you stopping you?
And if you are, you should contact the authorities.
But you're right. You stuck here.
You stuck in your brain.
Yeah.
You gotta action. You gotta do something. Decide. Give yourself time. Sometimes you gotta have time. Sometimes you gotta be time. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck, not able to get into these size 6 pants I want to get back to. But I'm gonna not be complicit on quarantine. I'm gonna make a way so I can get out and fit into my pants like I want.
So in that case, that's actually physical. Like I can't get
I'm just saying.
What's those weight loss programs or home workouts?
Listen, I'm participating in a few. I'm trying to shift my narrative over here.
In that case, to your point, you taking action, right?
I'm taking action.
It was key about you never had to advertise. It's been all referral, and I echo that regarding to. I've always had this mindset that I never want to have to apply for a job. What I mean by that, of course, you have to apply, but it comes from your network, your referral.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think what happens is it's something that being back to leveraging your network in those critical moments is key. And most right now are facing that. And what's your advice like to us, Black and brown folks, who tend to be get kind of reserved at the point when you need to extend out to say, hey, I'm in a transition in my career. I'm looking for new opportunity. Hey, I want to actually come. What's your advice? What helps you just go all in, to your point? Because folks pull you into your business. They know you buy in, or moving your career you saw yourself. What is that for them? What will help them out?
Yeah, so there's a couple things I think that have to happen. I think we got like 2 minutes, so I'm gonna try to make them quick.
2-3 minutes. 3 minutes.
So one, the first thing I think that's really important is you going back to the visibility thing. For me, people have been willing to help me because they know that I'm going to deliver quality work. So earlier I said, say yes to as much as you can. Don't burn yourself out, but say yes to as much as you can. What that has done is it's giving people the visibility to be like, oh, I know she can do X, Y, and Z. She may not have done this, but I believe she can. So when I do reach out and say, hey, you know, I'm in a position, I'm just trying to figure out what the next step is. Can we have a quick conversation? People are more open to that because they know that what I have to deliver is quality. It's not a secret, it's visible. And then the second thing is, I think when you reach out, you have to reach out from a place of authenticity. If I ain't heard from you in 7 years, I ain't seen you on nobody's nothing, you ain't you can't just hit me and be like, hey, I mean, I know you work at Amazon. Can you, I'm gonna be like, what do you do?
Yeah.
So I think that that's part of it too, is like just understanding the value of like putting yourself in the space so people do know what you do and do see that you're busy and all of that stuff, because they'll be more willing to extend opportunities to you.
Are you reading or writing any books? Oh yeah,
Ooh.
Miss Writer, come on.
Writing.
Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks, Danny, for that.
I'm always reading. I'm an audiobooker though. Some people think that's cheating, but I definitely am pro audiobook. There are some books that you can't audiobook, and that sucks because it means you got to carry the book around and you travel a lot, although I'm at home, so no excuses. But yes, I am always reading. I can't look in my Audible account right now to tell you, but there is I think his name is Will White. So I like fantasy novels.
Go ahead.
I try to enjoy like things that are not work when I do my reading. And so my reading tends to be nonfiction. So there's that. So I've been reading the series by Will White. The first book is called Unsold. It's good. I like it. I also like books that are kind of like that are gonna so memoirs, but like by people I'm interested in and that feel authentic. So a friend of mine just released the book. He's incredible. Y'all may have heard of him because I always tease him. He's a famous author, but his name is Michael Arsenault. He wrote a book recently called I Don't Want to Die Poor. I have it actually sitting on my desk.
What's up, Michael?
Because I'm reading it.
Oh, what's up? What's the name of the book?
It's called I Don't Want to Die Poor.
True. As a physical book. What?
Yeah, so this is his book. He just released it not long ago, and he's hilarious. So it's a great book. He wrote another book about 2 years ago called I Can't Date Jesus, and it's great. It was great as well. So this is my current active book in hand read. If you're looking for business book recommendations, I do have business book recommendations, but I would need to go back and look in my my Amazon. And here's the reason why. I like business books, but I cannot put business books in my brain when I am in execution mode. Because what I find is I get preoccupied with the new strategy and like, what did they do? And like, so like I don't get anything done. So I can't, right now I'm not in business book mind right now. So I'm not reading any, but I do have some that I really enjoy. The one business book that I love the most that I have gone back to several times is called Rework. It's a little book. It's short, but I mean, like some good tips. I mean, that book was good. It was a good book. So that one I go back to a lot. And then writing a book. Yes, I am writing a book. Stay tuned. Hopefully. It's a lot of work to write a book.
Yeah. What's your process writing a book? I think the reason I asked that question, I'll give you some preference. Like, my whole thing is about what possibility will you create, and writing books is definitely a mechanism of that. And it'd be helpful for folks. It may not be writing a book per se, but the process that you take to get there is very much the same. Can you walk us through that mental model that helps take a creative idea, which is a possibility, to make it actual real?
Yeah. So I do think, first of all, that if you want to write a book, you can find tons of great resources out there that would be helpful for writing a book, like outlining it, and getting it done. So do that. My process right now is honestly like, starting May 1st, I'm going to do 1,000 words a day. I'm just like 1,000 words a day, no matter what. Like, I can't have a cookie or a glass of wine unless I do 1,000 words.
Cookie short. Don't dismiss the wine.
All right. Oh, but if I let that go, I will get that 1,000 words. So no cookies, no glass of wine, but I'm going to give myself till May 1st because, it's quarantine time. This has been a little bit emotionally challenging for all of us. And so I want to give myself some grace. But yeah, 1,000 words a day is going to be my goal. And I feel like in a month, you're going to have 30,000 words, right? So like, you can whittle down from there. And if I fall short a day here and there, at the end of the day, once it goes through editing, it'll be smaller. But like, that's kind of going to be my process. I will say this. I have already outlined my book, partially because I teach a lot. And so when you teach, you have content already, you know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of figuring out what does that look like when you're in, you know, what is it going to need to be delivered as? And so I started working on the book last year, and what the book ended up turning into was an e-learning that's currently being edited. So I'm like, oh, so the e-learning is first. Okay, great. So I did
Isn't that funny how it works though?
It is funny because that wasn't my plan at all. But okay, so I was like, all right, well, this is e-learning. So that's in the process of being worked on and should launch at the end of the spring, hopefully. I mean, you know, COVID has us all a little crazy. And then the book will come later.
I want to dig into your passion about, again, the ballet a little bit, because I'm not sure some of these folks here may not have heard and saw your that I saw. You one lens at the D&I space and the connection to the nonprofit. Can you get some color on that too? For folks that just joined?
Yeah, and a couple things I want to say about that. Like,
what's up, Kat?
This isn't everybody's objective, but it's mine. I want to have a life that feels very cohesive.
Yes.
I do a lot of things. I travel a lot. I work a lot. I, you know, have a lot of friends. I blah, 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 right? And so because I am an active participant in life in that way, and I, you know, do all this erroneous stuff, I try in the ways I can to kind of like merge the things that mean a lot to me that I know I'm going to hold on to forever together. And so it's very natural for me to, with the knowledge that I care about inclusion and diversity issues, that I care about what that shows up like in the world, no matter what the central theme might be, for me to end up in the space that I'm in. So for those who missed it, I chair an organization called Brown Girls Do Ballet. We released a coloring book. This is a coloring book. It's super cool. Adults do color. I can, you know what? I colored a picture in here. I can show it to you.
I hope it's good. Don't be shy.
Yeah, look, see this. So I colored this.
Okay, that's actually good.
I mean, did you think I couldn't stay in the line?
I mean, I know, but you know, I'm making sure.
Oh my goodness, that sounded like judgment. Here's another. There's another one. I haven't finished that one. I'm still working.
All right.
So, but the organization is focused on, you know, just celebrating, highlighting, as well as supporting brown girls that are in ballet, because I mean, it's an expensive thing, as you all probably are well aware. There are not a lot of brown women that are in ballet. If you try to think of any right now, unless you're very connected to the ballet world, you probably can only think of Misty Copeland, which is great because Misty does not have a ballet body. She has an athletic body, and I'm here for it because there was a time where you couldn't be seen as a ballerina if you had big old thighs. So I'm here for it. But yeah, so the organization does a lot. We do scholarships. We have a mentoring program. We have ambassadors. We are also being affected by COVID. And so we're trying to figure out like how we can pivot to still support our ambassadors and girls and make sure that they get the opportunity to still, you know, feel the love and enjoy their experience as dancers, because they can't dance right now. You know, they can online, but you know, it's just limited. It's very different. And so
I'm glad you said it too. Like, are you, well, I'm seeing, I haven't seen some folks in here joining from my, you know, like Columbia Tower Club and other folks and artists and so forth are going through the same thing where they've been used to this physical structure. And seeing, and me, I'm part of a nonprofit called After School All Stars, seeing things happen to you and this after school program. Well, there's no physical school right now. And but these children still, they still get old every day. They're not going to stop aging, right? And so to your point, how do we stay present? You know, what's opening up for you and seeing as possibilities that's helping virtually? You kind of just tapped a little on that too, because I think that's key, because it's a pivot, right?
So I think my word for 2020 was actually vision, and boy, was I wrong. My word for 2020 has very much become pivot. Everyone is trying to pivot in the ways that they can. Like it's essential right now. Like whatever that looks like for you, you are probably in the middle of a pivot. And so I think everything is changing, and so we're trying to find ways to make things virtual. So like my life I've taken something I do live Like I do in-person, like person-to-person real-time training. And I've had to say, okay, how can I deliver a quality experience in my office space, right? Like right here in this space. Hey, that's my sister right there.
Oh, nice.
Ren knows better. But yeah, so like, how can I deliver a quality experience, right? So like, I want to make sure you have good video. I want to make sure you have good sound. I want to make sure that the visuals are good. Like, I want to make, like, those are things that I've taken the time to invest in because I know that I'm in a pivot where things now are going to be virtual. And let's be 100% clear, it is not going to go back.
Yes.
We may add, but we are not going to go back. And so there are some things that are going to, you know, we may return to some things, but there will still be this online component because now we've demonstrated that it works.
Yes.
If you have the news on virtual, everybody can do it. And so
right.
it's positioning, you know, and preparing for the possibility that you're going to live in a world where you can deliver something from anywhere. And not seeing that as a handicap or a challenge, but seeing that as like how can I make what I have something that people can take advantage of anywhere? That's powerful. Like I see that as a great pivot, right? And so for our girls, we're thinking about how can I make sure that we can still support you? We can still resource, because you're going to go back to ballet, right? You're going to go back to dance. But like, you're also probably going to do more things online for dance than you did before. So like, how can we support that? How can we be on the cutting edge of that? And so like this entire experience, whether it's willing or not, is going to require you to pivot how you prepare your meals, pivot how often you go to the grocery store, pivot how, you know, much money you can spend because your life is way different. Your income is, pivot all of those things. And so like, I think being open to that change, and I am one of the rare people who really enjoy change. Most people don't like it. I happen to really like change. And so because I do like it, I'm kind of like, oh, I could stay in my house. Oh my gosh, I've been on the road for like 3 years straight. I can sleep in my own bed. How can I make this work? Oh, I need to get some lights. I need a better camera. So like, how can I make this something that you're going to buy me because I'm great at what I do, but you're going to also know that you're going to get a quality experience.
Yes.
And like, what is that for you?
When people book you as a speaker, what do you want them to take away? What's your message you're trying to share? What message are you trying the hardest to share and break barriers? That's a great question.
Okay, so it depends. Like, usually when people book me as a speaker, they've typically gone through training or they've seen me train before. And so it depends on what they would like me to like hone in on. But so I obviously will partner with them to figure out like, what's the key message, you know, but it's usually going to center somehow connect back to inclusion and diversity. But the thing that I am always trying to get people to take away, the one fundamental little teeny nugget, is that bias isn't bad.
Yes.
It's not bad. Like, we have this idea that like someone will be like, oh, you're biased, and like you get defensive. No, I'm not. And it's like, yeah, you are. You know, like, and so that is the one thing I really try to get people to like, put your shoulders down. Like, we're all a bit biased. Let's talk about what that is and what it means. Let's have some jokes around it. Let's get really warm and comfortable around that thing, so that like, when you encounter it out in the world and you're like, oh, that's bias, I see that, it doesn't feel so abrasive. It feels a lot easier to like engage and have like a civil human conversation instead of like, you know, being offended or defensive because you just can't execute when that happens. And so that's the one thing I think I'm always, like, in every message, I'm always trying to get that across. The other thing that I always try to make sure people get to is that like, you get a say. Like, you get a say. You don't have to live the life you've been told to. Like, you get a say. And it might not be the choice that you wanted to make at that time, but like, you don't have to do anything. You can have whatever life you so choose. Is it going to take some work to get there? Absolutely. But like, at the end of the day, like, you get a choice, right? And so like, it's incredibly liberating to me when going back to the stuck thing, when I remind myself like, yo, I don't have to live the life that I've been told to. It doesn't have to look like that. So what do I actually want it to look like, right? And that's, there's a lot of power in that. And so I do try to also get people to see, you know, again, you're complicit in your own experience. And so you get to have a say in what that's like.
Heck, 100%. Like you mentioned earlier, like, are you physically stuck, or is anything truly holding you back?
Right. Where is the barrier?
The barrier is in your mind, right?
It's in your mind.
And I love that fact you made it human, because the bias is very human. It's our mind. We make shortcuts, decisions,
exactly,
on everything. I'm sitting on this couch. So my shortcuts, I trust my couch is stable. It's gonna hold me up, and
you don't think about it.
You don't think about it, right? So my mind doesn't
You
think
just sit
about
down.
I'm sitting, my phone is anchored down on the pad. I got charged, so I'm not worrying about it not dying. That's not my mind, right? And so we make shortcuts and decisions. Same with when we see things, and we take data from our parents teaching, what we see on TV and reading, society norms, you name it. That's all contributing to our unconscious bias.
It is,
right? And to your point, it's not.
And some of your conscious bias, because I hate the dentist.
No doubt. Yeah, I hate the dentist. Like, why? Because that shit sucker hurt.
Right.
And
expensive.
Past experience. Now, next time they not hurt, but it hurt last time.
It hurt last time, right? Right.
It's like I got 2 cavities. What you mean?
Exactly.
So yes. That's spot on. And I think when folks break it down, and I also say we have some homework to do ourselves as Black and brown folks about identify our defensiveness sometimes to things and lean into the conversation.
Yeah.
If we are too afraid to have the conversation, we got to have the conversation. I like how you said that.
Yeah. And one of the things I also do, and this is more of a smaller group, less of like a speaking situation, is I try to teach people and give them tools to have those conversations, because it is a matter of having the tools. Like, it's a matter of having, like, you know what I mean? Like, because we don't always learn that. We, a lot of, Black and brown people come from households where it's like children are to be seen and not heard, and
Correct.
You don't, necessarily get your voice. And then when you do, it comes from whatever environment you were brought up around after that, right? Like, so college, or, you've jumped right into the workforce, like that's where you get your voice. And that's not always going to give you the invitation that you need or the opportunity to practice saying what you need to say. And so I do in my trainings also make sure that I give people the tools to be able to lean in and like say, like, look, how do I tell somebody that this behavior is trash? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
and, like,
no doubt.
And because we don't know how. I mean, and that's, unfortunately, it's not just a Black and brown problem, but we are mostly we're mostly afflicted. And so.
Correct. And to your point, we're supposed to inflict it, and we inflict it on ourselves. And to your point, is unlearning behaviors that was, from our childhood, and again, it's the human part. And I think until until we see us, if you cut me open in half, and cut us, we got organs, we bleed same way. It's all the same. Until we self-identify as equally as humans, and we have the conversation. Of course, trust has to be there, right?
Yeah.
But lean in. So I appreciate that.
Everybody have a great night. I'm going to go eat.
Everybody, thank you so much. Pleasure.
All right, bye.
All right, see you. Bye-bye. Hello, this is Mr. Rose. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to come back every week for new podcast content. Special thanks to my daughter and her team and all their hard work putting this content together. Be engaged. Be aware. Be ready. Be heard. Thank you.